Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahi Om Shanti 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 ज्ञानानंदमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे ओम श्री हयग्रीवाय नमः ओम श्री वल्लभा समेत श्री महागणाधिपतये नमः. We were in the topic of anubhuter drshyatva-anupapattih, the anubhuti or anubhava. The experience itself cannot become experienced. Okay. So here, in fact, the last point we saw was that the Purva was saying that the Atma is only a Jnata, is a knower or experiencer. The experience and the experienced object therefore have to be different from Atma. Atma is Jnana Ashraya, they are saying, or Anubhava Ashraya. It itself cannot be Anubhava or Anubhuti. That is the argument. And the Dharma Bhuta Jnana, which reveals itself and also the object. That is the Suprakashatvam they talk about. And that is why even Suprakashatvam is Anitya, according to the Vishishtadvaitin. That Dharma Bhuta Jnana is a dharma of the Atma, which is the Ashraya for that. But Atma also is called Dharmi Bhuta Jnanam and all that, or Jnana Dravyam. So there is they have a Siddhanta like this. But finally, what do we say? Whatever you call as Dharma Bhuta Jnana is not a problem for us. We also accept Vrittik Jnanam. Okay, so Vrittik Jnanam is where the activity, the Jnana Kriya happens. Because the mind has to take a particular state or a form. So how do we explain knowledge itself? The explanation is that mind goes through the Indriya and takes the form of the object. That is what we call as the manovritti, okay, or antakarana vritti. And so the chaitanyam which is pratipalita there, or which is manifesting there, is the one which we call as pramana upahita chaitanya or manovritti upahita chaitanyam. The chaitanya which is conditioned by the manovritti, which is manifesting there. Now that is what is the dharma bhuta jnanam you are talking about. So all these manifestation etc. are only upadhikrita for us. In reality, it is the one akhanda chaitanyam, correct? One consciousness which is indivisible also, undivided, homogeneous consciousness, which is self-revealing and self-existing. We are actually trying to establish that. So in this context, the last sentence we saw in the previous class, you can see here, Tasmat sakarmakad antakarana dharmat vritti jnanad anyaha eva anubhavaha. That is our main point. Whatever we call as anubhavaha, which is Atma Swarupa. Okay. The anubhava itself is the Atma Swarupa, and it is other than this whatever is the antakarana vritti, which is your dharma bhuta jnanam. Okay. So Atma Swarupa Bhutaha Shruti Siddhaha, and it is also established by the Shruti. Shruti is saying Prajnanam Brahma, correct? Vijnana Ghanaha, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Vijnanam Anandam Brahma, like that. In many places, Shruti is talking about Atma Swarupa as Chaitanya Swarupam only. So there cannot be any opposition to that. Okay, once we say this, what now? The Purva Pakshi is again starting. He is saying, Nanu Samvid Asthira, Atma tu Sthiraha. So the point is what? He is saying an experience is asthiram, means it is temporary, right? It is transient. That is the idea of saying asthira. Any experience is transient because one experience is there and then that is gone and then another experience comes. Like that, you are experiencing many things. Either the object can be external object or it can be purely your mano. The emotional states of your mind also are experienced. Okay. So, like this, but it is all asthira. It is transient, but Atma is nitya. It is sthiraha. Okay, Atma tu sthiraha. And therefore, what is the conclusion? He is saying, Sukhadinam iva samvidaha pi utpatyadayaha pratyaksham ikshanta iti chet. Okay, so now what he is saying, like even Sukha Dukha, which have Utpatti and Laya, correct? They are born, they are gone. Like that, even the Anubhava or Samvit also has Utpatti according to them. And it is Pratyaksha, he is saying. It is known directly. Pratyaksham ikshanta iti chet ma evam. It's not like that. Why? Sukhadinam jadatvat astu sukhadi vishayaka anubhavaha. Okay. With reference to sukha, etc., we have no quarrel. Sukha vishaya anubhavaha is there, correct? Anubhava which has sukha or dukkha or any other emotional state of your mind or even any external object, all those things are there because they are all vishaya anubhavaha. But anubhavasya anubhavaha we cannot accept. Katam punaha samvid vishayaka anubhavaha. So that is what we are asking. How can the samvid itself can become the vishaya of anubhava, or anubhava itself cannot become a vishaya of anubhava? Yadi samvidaha api anubhavaha asti tarhi samvid anubhavasya api anubhavaha asti eva iti anavastha. Okay, so if you talk about an anubhava of anubhava, then it will go into infinite regress. It will go into anavastha. That's what he is saying. So if you talk about an anubhava of samvit, then what about that anubhava? Who is going to experience that? Like that, it will keep on going. Therefore, what we say, yadi samvid anubhavasya nasti anubhavaha tarhi samvidaha api anubhava nasti eva. So now they can come and say, no, anubhavasya anubhavaha, there itself it stops. You cannot talk about another anubhava for that other, the second anubhava and all that. Then we said, why don't you stop with the first only? We are even proposing anubhavasya anubhava. Let anubhava or samvit itself be samvit. That's it. It is there always. It doesn't require another cognizer because it is self-revealing also. We say it is swayam jyotihi. Therefore, there is no point in talking about anubhavasya anubhavaha. Therefore, what we say, okay, then mama jnanam jatam nashtam iti pratitihi tu jnana vishaya vastu janma nasha prayukta eva. Okay, so what we say is, see, of course, everybody has an experience that I had knowledge of this, then that knowledge is gone. I have knowledge or anubhava or experience of something else, that is gone. I have experience of some other thing, like that. Different experiences are there. Therefore, there is an idea that an experience is born, experience is gone. But there also what we have to understand is, whatever is born and gone is the Vishaya Anubhava, not Anubhava by itself. Is it clear? That's what he is pointing out. Mama Jnanam Jatam Nashtam. So I had a direct experience or knowledge of something, then it is gone. Now I have direct experience or knowledge of some other thing, let us say. That pratiti, that cognition is there. That is what he is saying. Jnana Vishaya Vastu Janmanasha Prayukta. It depends on the Vastu being cognized or not cognized. It doesn't depend on the Anubhava itself becoming a cognition, and that Anubhavasya Anubhava is born and Anubhavasya Anubhava is gone. We cannot say that from that. Only the Vishaya and Anubhava Sambandha is there. Then we say that this Vishaya Jnana is there. Once that Sambandha is gone and Anubhava has Sambandha with something else, then that Anubhava is there, like that. So it is dependent on the Vishaya, not the Anubhava or Jnana itself. So that is the point here. Further, what he is saying, Kincha Jnanam Jatam Nashtamiti Na Kopi Pratyeti. So that's what he is saying. Nobody has a, he says, I had experience of experience. It was born and then it is gone. Nobody says like that, correct? Or I had knowledge of knowledge. No, it's not like that. So, na kopi pratyeti, nobody cognizes the birth of knowledge and the laya of knowledge. It is not there. But kintu artha jnanam jatam, artha jnanam nashtamityeva. But objective knowledge was born, objective knowledge is gone. Correct? So the artha jnanam jatam, artha jnanam nashtam, that is fine. Therefore, what evam sati, yada arthaha jnane vishayaha bhavati, tada artha jnanam jatam iti. So that's what he's saying. So in this manner, what, if it is like this, what we can say is when the object and the knowledge are coming together and that object becomes an object of knowledge, correct? So arthaha jnane vishayaha bhavati. With reference to the jnanam, it becomes a object or a vishaya. Then what? Tada artha jnanam jati. Then the objective knowledge is born. Object cognition is there. And when it is not there, yada na bhavati, tada nashtam. When it is no more an object of your cognition, then you say that that knowledge is gone. But then, so, but to extend that and say that experience itself is born and experience is gone is only Bhranti. He is saying Bhrantya manyante purushaha. Okay, so there is a certain delusion or a Bhranti, erroneous cognition here. If you consider that as experience itself is born, experience is gone, it is basically the sambandha between Anubhava and Vishaya. That is the main thing here. So what he is saying is Jnanasya Vishaya Sambandha Virahabhyam Hi Janma Nasha Vyavaharaha. So from all these things, what do we say? The coming into contact between Jnana and Vishaya, or is that contact going away, correct? Sambandhi Viraha. He Janma Nasha Vyavahara. So whatever Janma means, Janma Nasha Vyavahara of Anubhava here, correct? Janma and Nasha of Anubhava is dependent on whether the knowledge or Anubhava and the Vishaya come together or they are dissociating. Okay. Therefore, what do we say? Jnanam Nitya Dravyamiti Vadata Sudarshanacharyeena api Abhyupagata Gataha eva ayamarthaha. In fact, this has been even accepted by Sudarshanacharya, he is saying. Because he says that Jnanam is Nitya Dravyam. Okay. So what about that the Jnana which is Nitya Dravya Jnana? That Jnana has to come into contact, and again that time this Jnanam is born. Then when the contact is no more there with the object, Jnanam is gone, like that. They are also talking about it similarly. Therefore, what do we say? Tasmat na samvidaha janma nashaustaha iti samvit sthira eva. So from all these things, what do we establish? That samvit is always there. Okay. That's what even before I have already talked to you about this Brihadaranyaka Shruti, correct? Pashyanvai yenna pashyati drashtuhu drishtehe viparilopo na vidyate avinashitvat. This is a very important thing. So the seer of sight never ceases. It never stops. Its ability to see is always there. That consciousness is consciousness always. That's why it is satyam, correct? Because yad rupena yan nishchitam tanna vyabhicharati. Once you have understood consciousness as consciousness, it never changes its swarupa. That's why it is satyam. That is the only thing which is satya. That is the only invariable in each and every cognition. That is what Kenopanishad also is teaching as pratibodha viditam matam. Okay. So it is the invariable in each and every cognition, and that is the one has to recognize. Then you can say, like that student in Kenopanishad, what? Manye viditam yasya matam matam yasyanaha, and all that it is there. Because many people in fact quote this Kenopanishad out of context. They say that even Kenopanishad itself is saying that the one who knows does not know, or one who says he knows, he does not know. One who says he does not know, he knows. Then nobody can claim he is a jnani, correct? But then in Kenopanishad itself, that student says, Manye viditam. Okay, it is there, correct? He says, I have understood. What is the meaning of that? That means it is not an object of knowledge. You cannot know it as an object. That's what it already talks about in so much detail, correct? Yen manasana manute yenahur manomatam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam ididam upasate. So that which cannot be known by the mind as an object, but that due to which presence only mind itself is acting as mind, that you know as Brahman, not something which you can visualize or know as an object. So that is the Brahman we are talking about, which is Anubhava Swarupa, which is Pratyak also. It is the innermost. Being the innermost, it can never be objectified. And it is always there in the same manner. That is why it is Satyam. Everything else is changing, means it is all Mithya. So just by analyzing your cognition only, if you understand Satyam Mithya, you can arrive at Advaita, Advaita very easily. Correct? This is good enough. In fact, my Guruji used to say this. That's all is required to understand Vedanta. Because all you have to understand is what you recognize the invariable in each and every cognition. Once you recognize that, that is the Satyam. And that invariable is yourself. It is not something different from yourself. And everything else can never be there without you, the consciousness being there. And they are all changing. And whatever is changing is Anritam. Bhashyakara very clearly says. Correct? Yad rupena yen nishchitam. If it is Vyabhicharati, tad Anritam, he says. Correct? So, everything, all objects of your, whatever is becoming evident to you, all that is changing, and that is all mithya. It is not even in the same order of reality. It cannot touch you in any way. So, it's very easy. In fact, Vedanta is sulabha, provided you listen to a proper guru. Otherwise, you can go in circles. Okay. Anyway, so so he's saying samvit sthira eva, vritti tu asthira eva. Vritti is asthira. Vritti is transient. Okay, the Buddhists come up to the vritti and they stop there. That is the tragedy. The Vijnanavadi Buddhist also. So only three pakshas can be there, correct? Three things. There are Dvaitins are there, different varieties. Even though they call them some whatever Achintya, Beda, so many words are all used. All of them are Dvaitins. Vishishta Advaita means also Dvaita. There is Advaitam. There are Dvaitins. Then another paksha, if you want to say, Shunyavadis are there. Buddhas. So what is the reality? Reality is Nanatvam or Dvaitam, or it is Shunya, or it is Ekameva, Advitiyam, Brahma. Only three things are there, three pakshas. And this is what even in the Mandukya Karika also, Gaudapadacharya, intelligently he uses, and he says, Parasparam Virudhyante, Tairayamna Virudhyate, like that he talks about. So they are fighting with each other. Now he uses their arguments against each other to negate them. And then Advaita is there already. You don't even have to establish Advaita. You negate all of their contention by using their own arguments against each other. Then Advaita is there. It is established. It is Thira. Anyway, therefore what he says now, Tasyaha vrittehe na asmabihi atmatvam uchyate iti stiraha atmaiva samviditi. Okay. So Tasyaha vrittehe. So this vritti is Attira. So it is not Atma for us. But what we say is Atma, is Jnana Swarupa, which is Tiraha. Okay, so there is no question, and that is Samvit. Whatever you call as Samvit also is that only for us. So even after this, what? They come back. He's saying Nanu अनुभूतेः आत्मत्व अभ्युपगमे तस्य tasyaha nityatvepi. Okay, here there is a printing mistake. Otherwise, you may read it as tasya anityatve and all that and get confused. Because anubhuti is strilinga, it should be tasyaha nityatvepi. Okay. Tasyaha nityatvepi pratisandhana bhavaha tadavastaha. So what he is saying is you may say that anubhuti is atma and therefore anubhuti also is nitya. They don't accept anubhuti or samvit as nitya. So tasya nityatve, even though it may become nitya, but what about this pratisandhana abhavaha will happen, he is saying. He is saying this pratisandhana is nothing but pratyabhijna, recollection. The recollecting from your memory and all that is not possible, he is saying. Why? Let us see his argument. He is saying pratisandhanam hi purvapara kalastha purvapara kalasthainam anubhavitaram upasthapayati na anubhuti matram. Okay. What he is saying is, see, for this pratisandhana or recollection to be there, just an experience is not enough. Correct? You require an experiencer from the past and an experiencer from the present who is able to recollect his past experience. Correct? So that's what he is saying, which is correct. He is saying purva apara kalasthainam anubhavitaram. There has to be an experiencer or a knower who is there, who was there in the past, who is still there. Okay. And for them, that is Atma. So we have Atma, which is the Jnana Ashraya. And so that in our case, there is no problem. There is Jnana, this Atma as a Jnata was there before. Atma is Nitya. Atma as a Jnata is there even now. Therefore, this Pratisandhana is possible. But for you people, it is not possible, he is saying. Because you are not even talking about any Jnata. Who is the Jnata in your case? You are talking about Vritti Jnanam. You are talking about Vishaya, Vritti, and then Anubhava itself is the Swarupa. Then where is the knower? That is their point here. Okay. So he is further saying, Aham eva idam purvamapi anvabhuvamiti bhavataha api anubhutehe nahi anubhavitritvam ishtamiti. Okay, he is saying, he is saying, even for you, the anubhuti cannot be anubhavitri. Correct? The experience itself cannot be the experiencer. That is not ishta for you. That is not desirous for you. So you have to accept an experiencer in the past, because I only experienced this in the past. Like that only everybody recollects the memory. Correct? Purvam api anvabhuvam means I only experienced this before. Like that ahameva idam purvam api anvabhuvam iti bhavataha api anubhutehe nahi anubhavitritvam ishtamiti chet iti ma evam. So if he says like that, means what do we say? It's not like what you say. It's not that we don't accept uh, anubhavitra or jnata. So what do we say? He's saying, so our paksha is explaining now here. Purva kale drishtasya arthasya kalantare punaha darshane sati ahameva idam purvam anvabhuvam iti yaha pratisandhatte tasya pramatuhu atmanaha kim swarupam. Okay, now we are asking a question. Okay, I saw something before. Purva kale drishtasya arthasya. Okay. Kalantare. Later on, I see the same thing. Kalantare punaha darshane. After some time, I see the same thing. That being the case, what? Aham eva idam purvam anmo iti. Okay, whoever says that I only experienced this before or I knew this before, like this he recollects. Yaha pratisandatte tasya pramatuhu, the knower who is saying this. What is his Atma Swarupa? What is the Swarupa of the knower? Tell me. Pramatuhu Atmanaha Kim Swarupam means there are two ways you can say. What? Yadi Jnanam Tarhi Katam Samvidaha Pratisandhana Bhavaha Tadavastaha. So if you say the Swarupa of the knower itself is Jnana, okay, then how can you say that Samvid cannot have Pratisandhana? If we say that the Jnata Swarupa is Jnanam, You also, if you accept that, and still you cannot claim that this pratisandhana avastha, that abhava avastha will come, correct? So pratisandhana abhava cannot be there. But if you say yadi tu jnanat anyat tarhi shruti virodaha swabhyubhagama virodascha, but you cannot say it is other than jnana also. The swarupa of the jnata is other than jnana. If you say it is shruti viroda, we can quote n number of shrutis, like already I quoted you, and also it will go against your own also whatever you have accepted, because you are also saying atma is nitya jnana dravya, correct? This is a jnana dravya. What about that jnana then? All these problems are there, so you cannot point fingers at us. First you look at yourself. Okay, now he is saying yaduktam anubhutehe anubhavitritvam bhavataha api na ishtamiti tadasate. Okay, so whatever you said, that the anubhuti itself becoming anubhavitra, okay, the experience itself is the experiencer, like that is not ishta for us. That's not true. So what do we actually say? Anubhavituhu swarupameva anubhavaha iti siddhanta. So what is our siddhanta? The knower swarupa is jnana, correct? Knowledge. Yapti swarupaha. That's how the whole teaching of Vedanta is, that only, correct? Satyam jnanam anantam brahma, vijnanam anandam brahma, and all these things. That's why even the Upanishad is talking about shrotrasya shrotram, manasaha manaha, vachoha vacham, sau pranasya pranaha, and all that. Okay. Or drishte drashtaram, etc. in the Brihadaranyaka. So anubhavituhu swarupameva anubhavaha iti siddhanta. That is our siddhanta. And but how can anubhava itself become anubhavituhu? Means he is saying that anubhave sakshini pratichi anubhavitrittvasya pramatritva rupasya mayaya kalpitatvacha iti. Okay, so what he is saying? The anubhave sakshini, the anubhava which is only a witness or which is only a presence. Sakshi here means that which is present, and in its presence everything is happening. And it is pratichi means it is the innermost self, which is the sakshi, which is also anubhava swarupa or anubhava. On that, the anubhavitrittvasya pramatritva rupasya means this being the experiencer or knower, that is mayaya kalpita. That is, in fact, the triputi itself is kalpita for us, correct? Knower, known, knowledge, all this threefold division itself is only kalpita. It's only an appearance. It's all mayaya kalpitatvacha. So there is no problem. And in fact, what do we say? Yavat vyavaharam anubhutehe anubhavitritvam asmakam ishtameva. In the vyavahara, the Chaitanya only is appearing as the knower also. So we don't have any problem with that. It is desirous for us in vyavahara. And also what? Therefore, in fact, he is saying, therefore what? Tasmat sa nitya upalabdhi swarupoham atma iti acharyokta vidhaya nitya upalabdhihi eva atma. So what do we say finally? Even Shankaracharya has said this, correct? Sa nitya upalabdhi swarupoham atma. Nitya upalabdhi swarupa. The eternal consciousness only. Upalabdhi swarupa here is really Chaitanya swarupa. That is me, atma. Like this, in this is what Acharya has said. In keeping with that, we also now say that this Atma is Nitya Upalabdhi Swarupa only for us. There is no contradiction or any problem. Okay, once we say this, what they come back again. He is saying, Nanu, na samvid Atma, kim, kintu aham arthaha eva. Now he is still maintaining what? Atma is not samvid. Okay, Atma means aham arthaha, he says. Whatever you say as I, that I alone is Atma, it is not samvid. So, na samvid Atma, kintu aham arthaha eva. And further he is saying, aham arthascha samvidaha bhinnaha. Whatever is I, it is different from samvid or consciousness or knowledge. And that is why you can say aham janami iti pratitehe iti. That is why you can say I know. So the knowledge is separate from you. That is why you say I know. That cognition is there. Iti chet ma evam. If you say this what? It's not like that. Why? Aham shabdasya mukyartaha lakshyarthascha iti dvau arthaustaha. So now he is saying what? Aham shabda has two meanings. One is the mukhya artha, which is the ego or the knower, correct? I. Karta bhokta I, ahankara. But there is a lakshya artha also for that. So there are two meanings are there. There is an indicated meaning, direct meaning, and implied meaning, we can say. Lakshya artha means we can take by implication or indication. So dvau arthaustaha, two meanings are there. And there what tatra pramata mukyarthaha. So the I as the knower or experiencer or bhokta is the mukyartha, it is the direct meaning. But sakshi to lakshyartha, but sakshi is the implied meaning or lakshyartha. So the whole teaching of Vedanta is to make you understand the lakshyartha, correct? All vyavahara and all samsara is, if you take it as mukyartha, it is samsara. You are a samsari, as a knower, enjoyer, karta, bhokta. The entire Vedanta teaching is to relieve you from this mukyartha, this misunderstanding of aham, and point out that you are the sakshi and you are nirgunaha. Sakshi, cheta, kevalo, nirgunashcha. In fact, he will quote that also here. So that is what is it, correct? So, and here further he is saying what? Nacha sakshya siddhihi pramana abhavad iti vachyam. Okay, now the Purva Bakshi is saying sakshi asiddhihi is there. Means sakshi like that, nothing is there. Now you are creating some division and all that. That there is a sakshi other than the pramata. They don't accept a sakshi other than pramata. Atma itself is jnata and also the sakshi and all that. But you people are talking about there is a sakshi separately, pramata separately and all that. And you are saying one is direct meaning, another is implied meaning. There is no pramana for all these things, he is saying. Pramana bhava means no, na vachyam, you can't say why. In fact, he is quoting Panini Sutra also is there. I think we have covered this in a previous class. Sakshat drashtari samjnayamiti Panini anusasanat sakshi shabdaha atmani rudhaha. So the sakshi itself has the rudhyartha of atma only. And there in the Panini Sutra also there are interesting things are there. I was reading the Vartika and the whatever, the Kashika Vritti. So there they are saying if two people are engaged in activity, they are also witnessing each other's action, correct? But they are not called Sakshi, it seems. They cannot be called as Sakshi because there are particular Pratyaya comes. There, the Sakshi should be only a witness. Okay? Sakshi cannot be the one who is taking part in the activity and still witnessing it. Like you go to a, so the modern example is what? You go for sale deed registration in India, correct? It may be there in US and other places also. So, or some contract is being signed. Those who are signing the contract themselves cannot become witness, correct? You have to, or those who are actually the seller is there, buyer is there. They cannot be Sakshi. In the document, the Sakshi has to be somebody else who is not involved in this transaction. And that person is the Sakshi, correct? He does not do anything. He is there only to witness. His presence is there. In his presence, these two people are doing some transaction. Like that they are discussing. That is the meaning. And in such case only this pratyaya can come. Like this, the grammar also is so beautiful, correct? It brings out Vedanta. So he is pointing that out. And that Sakshi has Rudi Artha as Atma only. And also Shruti is there. Sakshi, Cheta, Kevalo, Nirgunasya. That's what I quoted now. There is a Shveta Shruti. Shrutischa manam. And even Brihadaranyaka also says, Nanyatosti drashta, Nanyatosti shrota and all that. Other than this Atma Brahman, there is no drashta, shrota, all these things are only this Brahman alone. Finally. Therefore, what? Tasya cha sakshinaha Brahma abheda shrutya pratipadyate aham brahmasmi iti. So, Sakshi only is pointed out by this Brahma abheda shruti aham brahmasmi, because if you take aham and Brahma and use asmi, the identity, aham as jiva cannot have identity with Jagat Karanam Brahma, correct? So you have to have Lakshyartha, only the identity can be there. In Vachyartha, there is no identity, there is no point. Mahavakya, if you take it as a equation, of course, any equation should have apparent differences. If there are no apparent differences, there is no point in giving equation. 1 equal to 1 is not an equation. Understand that. You have to at least have something like 3 minus 2 equal to 4 minus 3 or 5 minus 4, whatever. So it looks different at least. But then you have to arrive at the identity. That is the vichara we are doing. The entire Mahavakya vichara is to arrive at the identity between Jiva and Jagat Karanam Brahma. There, on both sides, we have to do some Tyaga has to be there, correct? That's what Bhagat Tyaga Lakshana and all we say. So here Aham is the Sakshi, not the Karta Bhokta, only Sakshi. And Brahman also is not really Jagat Karta and all that. Brahman also is only Suddha Chaitanya Swarupa. Sakshi also is Chaitanya Swarupa. Then there only identity one can understand. So that's how it is revealed, in fact, by the Mahavakya also. Therefore, what? Tasmat tatraham shabdaha lakshanaya sakshinam bodhayati. So what? Finally we say, therefore, the aham shabda, even in the aham brahmasmi, by lakshana it is revealing only the sakshi chaitanya. Sakshita samvideva iti kritva aham shabda lakshyartaha samvideva. And sakshi cannot be other than consciousness. Correct? It is samvid only. It is samvideva iti kritva. Therefore, the aham shabda lakshyartha is samvid only. There is no doubt in this. So, aham janami, pashyami, shrinomi, sukhi, dukhi, sthulaha, krishaha, manushyaha, brahmanaha, grihasthaha, ityadau tu mano, buddhi, indriya, deha, tadatmya, adhyasa, vishishtam, pramataram bodhayati. Correct? All this, whatever you take yourself as, I am a knower, I see, I hear, I am a seer, hearer, I am I am a sukhi, dukhi, correct? I am an enjoyer, I am a sufferer, Thulaha, Krishaha, Manushyaha, so I am a human being, I am fat, all these problems are there, some people. Or I am a Jati identification, I am a Brahmana, I am a householder, okay. So Varna, Ashrama identity is given, Brahmanaha, Grihasthaha, Ityadautu. So all these identities, self-identities, they are all what? Mano, Buddhi, Indriya, Deha, Tadatmya, Adhyasa, Vishishtam. Because all these identities are based on some activity of the, or activity or quality of the mano, this dehatma sangata only, correct? It has got nothing to do with atma. You superimpose the dharma or kriya of this dehatma sangata and atma, and then take it as I. That is the whole samsaritvam. That is the problem. So pramataram bodhayati मुख्य वृत्ति अहम शब्दः इति तत्र अहम अर्थः न साक्षी किंतु प्रमाता एव. In all these things are shown to you by the pramata only, correct? Pramataram bodhayati, and there the mukhya vritti aham shabdah is used. Aham shabda mukhya vritti is knower, experiencer, but lakshyartha is sakshi. That's what we are saying. Here it is not sakshi. For the jiva who is a samsari, the aham shabda only points to the jiva as the karta bhokta, knower. So that is the point here. And okay, further what? Na asya samvid abhedaha pratipadyate virodhat samvidhi brahma cha asamsari pramata cha samsari iti katham samsari asamsarinoho abhedaha अत एव तत्त्वमस्यादिषु भागत्यागलक्षण आश्रिता. Okay, that's what he is explaining exactly what I was telling you already, correct? See, so here this samvid abhedaha na asya pratipadyate, there it is not revealing this samvid abheda. Why? Virodha, because there is a virodha. If you take the mukhya artha, obviously there is a virodha. That is the whole idea of any equation. You have to arrive at the identity. So if Samvid is Brahman and Brahman is Asamsari, correct? Samvidhi Brahma, Brahmacha Asamsari, but Pramata is Samsari, Pramata cha Samsari iti, Katam Samsari Asamsarinoho Abhedaha. Okay? Means, what do we say? Ata eva tattva masyadishu bhagatyaga lakshana ashrita. So you have to use you have to fall back on the bhagatyaga lakshana. You have to give up the contradictory dharmas. There abheda is only in the dharmi. If you look at it through the dharma, there is bheda only. Because one side everything is all knowing, another side everything is small knowing, correct? Everything is all there, everything is small here. There it is sarvajnaha, sarvashaktiman, etc. Here alpajnaha, alpashaktiman. Everything is alpa, there it is sarva. Or there it is all, here it is small. So that way we have to give up all the dharma. That is why we use all this example of Soyam Devadattaha and all that, correct? Even to identify, to arrive at the identity of that Devadatta, which is this Devadatta, there is no identity in the qualities, correct? That Devadatta had black hair, he was slim, no glasses. This Devadatta is fat with a big paunch, white hair, glasses. So where is the identity? That means you have to give up these differences in dharma. The person alone is the same, we say, correct? That is the point here. The bhagatyaga lakshana is the important thing for us. With that only you can arrive at the identity. Also what he is saying, yadyapi pramatuhu api swarupam samvideva tatapi visheshana pradhanyad eva muktam iti bodhyam. Okay, but what he is saying is, in reality, knower also is samvid swarupam only. There is no doubt about it. But still, from the standpoint of the dharma or the visheshana only, all these things is said that the pramata himself is a samsari, etc. That is all brantya or maya only. Okay. So that we have to understand, it is from the standpoint of the visheshana. Visheshana pradhanyad evam mukta. It has been said in this manner that pramata is the samsari and pramata is the one who takes himself as all these things. Sukhi, dukhi, brahmanaha, etc. It is all from the visheshana pradhanyat. In reality, the knower is consciousness only, correct? Of the nature of consciousness. That's what one has to in fact recognize. Therefore, what tasmat aham artaha sakshi samvideva. So finally again we come to the same point. The aham artaha is sakshi. It is only the witness. Aham artaha pramata tu samvidi kalpitaha iti tad bhinnaha eva. If you take the aham artha as pramata, okay, that is something which is appearing in the consciousness. It is only an appearance in the consciousness. It is kalpitaha. Samvidhi kalpitaha. And it is different from samvid only, we have to say. But in another way, if you look at it, what he is saying, kalpitam adhishtanad anatiriktamiti nyaya ashrayane tu sopi samvid abhinnaha eva. Okay, in one way, if you see it independently, pramata is different from consciousness. But pramata is only an adhyasa, correct, on the consciousness. So anything which is adhyasta is adhishtana anatirikta only, correct? It is non-different from the adhishtana. So whatever is appearing is non-different from where it appears, the adhishtana. Therefore, if you look at it like that, then we can say the knower is not different from the pot is clay. This is what Swamiji also used to say. My Guruji always used to teach like this, correct? He used to say, or he used to use the example of beggar and actor. Beggar is actor. Actor is not beggar, correct? Actor is a millionaire. Even while acting as beggar, he is earning more money. He is earning a lot of applause. His acting is so true that everybody is appreciating it and they are clapping and he is getting applause and he will get more money also because of that. But the beggar character cannot be there without the actor being there. So beggar is actor, B is A is not B. This is how the Satyam Mithya we have to understand very clearly. B is A, but A is not B. Pot is clay, but clay is not pot, because in your understanding of clay, there is no partness. But clay pot, you cannot even cognize. Without cognizing the clay, you cannot cognize the clay pot. If you touch the clay pot, you are touching the clay. If you weigh the clay pot, you are weighing the clay, really. So the pot is only Vacharamanam Vikaro Namadheyam. That's what, it's only a name. It has no substance. Therefore, if you look at it like that, it is Samvid Abhinnaha. Because you can say Pramata is Samvid, but Samvid is not Pramata. Yeah. That is the teaching. Okay, last one line is there. What is that? With that he is saying Siddham. So Tathacha Ahamartasya Atmanaha Pramatritvam Adhyasikam Samvid Rupatvam tu Swabhavikam iti Siddham. So finally, what do we establish? For this Ahamartha, okay, if you take it as Pramata, it is Adhyasika, it is superimposed. But what is the very nature of this Aham means? The Swarupa of the Aham is only Samvid. It is the Swabhavika, it is the natural, or it is the very nature of oneself. Is that I am a conscious being, I am the limitless conscious being. That is the reality. Now that is established, and some more it is keeping on going. Okay, we will see that in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवाद गुरु।